everybody, and welcome to the Flourish Collective video series. We are on day 2, and I'm super excited to have you back today. Today, we're going to talk about the real reason why you're always tired and the fastest way to switch it off. If you tried the nighttime calm routine last night, maybe you noticed your mind set a little faster, maybe you slept a little deeper. Even a small shift shows your brain isn't broken, it's overloaded. But here's the problem. Even if you sleep better, the daytime flood of decisions will drain you dry by noon. Today's goal for our video series is to cut tomorrow's decisions, the load, by 25%. And we're going to do that through 2 tiny shifts. And I think I'm going to give you a third one too, because it's fun, or at least it's fun for me. That's what we're going to tackle today. And I'm going to show you that you don't need more time. You need to think differently about the time that you have. I want you to imagine what that day looks like and what your life looks like. By 9:12 a.m., you've already chosen breakfast, found all your kids' missing schoolwork, their shoes, their clothes, on and on. You answered 3 texts from your young adult child asking adulting questions. You checked your mom's blood pressure on the hospital or the doctor's medical system, so that you can make sure that she's doing okay. You scrolled through your inbox and decided which of the 17 emails can't wait. Or you've also then answered them all because you're afraid that you're going to forget. And it's not even lunchtime yet. By 10 a.m., most women in our season of life have already made over 100 micro decisions. And I want you to think about that. Every single one chips away at your mental clarity and your mental capacity for the day. That's why by midday, you're foggy, not because you're weak, not because you're getting older, but because your brain has been drained by decision fatigue. And here's the kicker. Decision fatigue doesn't care how smart you are. In fact, the smarter and more capable you are, the heavier it hits, because you're holding more plates in the air. You're the one everyone turns to. Again, it's not a personal flaw, it's caregiver brain. This is what we talked about in day 1. You're always scanning, you're always solving, you're always decoding. But the good news is we can hack it. We can lower the load without lowering your standards. We're going to talk about some quick wins. And these 3 tiny quick wins are going to really help you. And there's something you can put into place immediately without having to wait to see if things work. Here are those quick wins. The first one is the choice triage. And this is a 3-minute morning reset. You write all your to-do list down. And I like to make sure that you're writing it when you start this process instead of using an app. And we're going to talk about why here in a minute. But you write your to-do list down, and you split it into 3 columns. And I'm going to add a 4th if you're feeling like this is going to work for you and you're feeling ambitious for that day. The 3 columns are must, the things you've absolutely got to get done today. Move, needs to be done but can wait until tomorrow. And drop, doesn't get done at all. The 4th one I'm going to talk to you about is going to be a harder one, and it's a delegate. It needs, and this is a bonus for you guys, but if you feel like the must, move, drop is working for you, then you can add delegate. The delegate is it needs to get done, but somebody else can do it. And I'm going to tell you what, that's the uncomfortable part, because you can start feeling yourself getting stressed because asking someone else for help isn't in your nature, and it's really hard. But all of these quick wins of the choice triage pulls your brain out of overwhelm and into clarity. One of my clients, Anne, told me that when she was doing the choice triage, she felt like she was taking bricks out of her emotional backpack. Suddenly, she said, I can breathe again, and it helped me realize how much I was taking on that other people could do. So don't try to find an app that does this for you initially. Write it down. The first few times you do this, it really helps work your brain, put your brain in a better space, because what it does is it uses a different writing action. Active writing actually uses the different parts of your brain and forces your brain to work better. And that means it also works less hard. Trust me on this. Once you've figured out how this works, feel free to find an app or stay with the course with the written format. I still use the written format. Every time I try to go to an app, I go back to writing because I've noticed that my brain actually works so much better and I feel so much less discombobulated. That's one of my favorite words, because I've been able to write things down. The second one we're going to talk about is default decisions. You pick 5 things, repeat every week, and pre-decide them. Meals, med reminders, pickup schedules, workout times, bill dates, set them in your calendar and plan ahead. Every default you set is one less daily drain and one less energy sucker on your brain. I do this every Sunday. Every Sunday, I sit down and I do our meal planning. Anything I have to do for workouts, because if I have to think about working out, then it's not going to happen. The meal plan is really huge because it really helps me focus on what I need to do every week. What are we going to eat every week? I'm not running around like a chicken with my head cut off. And at the end of the day, trying to make a decision of what to cook, because guess what? It's not going to happen. I'm going to buy fast food, which is not good for my health. It's not good for my mood. And it's certainly not good for that workout that I did, that I'm now not burning off what I ate through the day, but I'm adding things on. One of my clients also did this, and she said she stopped debating dinner every night, and it really felt like she was getting hours back in her life, not because the planning of it took a lot of time, but because the thinking about it took a lot of time. Here's the thing about planning. It feels like a drain, but it creates so much more space and healthier choices, and then it creates less stress. Those default decisions then take all of the energy of trying to figure out what to do next out of the mix, and it leaves you more energy for other things you need to do. The third thing we're going to talk about is a boundary script. And I've mentioned this in the last video that we have a boundary script that we use. But the thing I love about boundary scripts is they really provide you a way to practice how to say what you need to say. I want you to try this today when someone texts you for help with something the third time, even though you've already told them that you don't have time this week and they didn't hear that. When someone texts you for the third time that day, you can use this text script. I can help after 6 p.m. Before then, please text X. Here's another one. I can't help with that this week, but I can do that on Friday. So-and-so might be able to help before then. You might want to ask them. It sounds really difficult, but by practicing and knowing boundaries to use, it takes so much of the mental load off of the day. And the first time you see it work, you'll feel your shoulders drop. Here's the thing I want you to hear about boundary scripts is that we feel like that when we put boundaries in, it feels like we're being unkind. But the reality is that you're being really kind. You're really allowing other people to figure out how to do things. You're giving them the confidence to do it. And you're taking things off of your plate that keeps you from, and also keeps you from getting resentful because everybody's asking you to do everything. Trust me on these boundary scripts. They work really well. And it gives when you use the scripts, it gives your brain time and effort to be able to figure out how to manage it. So you are not just the invisible helper. You are actually leading 2 generations. You are helping your parents, you're helping your kids, your adult kids, and now it's time for you to focus on your own energy too, and not just everybody else's. Imagine what happens when your mornings aren't swallowed by 100 tiny decisions, when you still have clarity left by lunchtime, when you walk into dinner without feeling like you've been wrung dry. That's who you really are. You're capable, you're present, you're steady. Not because you're doing more, but because you're caring less. What does all this mean? Better nights plus fewer decisions, that's just step 1. But the truth is, those wins only last if you plug them into a bigger system, a framework that rewires how your brain, your body, and your days look and act. So you stop cycling back to the same exhaustion. You all know how this works. We go to counseling, we read a book, we do all the things, but then we can't keep the momentum going. And that's because that's not how our brains work. Our brains work to change on action. Our bodies change on action. In video 3, I'll walk you through the full Flourish plan. It's a 3-step system our clients use to sleep through the night, set unshakable boundaries, and reclaim their joy in their lives without dropping the people they love or the things they love. Here's your action. Tomorrow morning, try choice triage. 3 minutes, must move, drop, and delegate. Feel how different your brain feels when it sees clarity instead of chaos. If you do this, and I would love for you to drop something in the links in the chat below. Or you can message me on Instagram. It's at Maddie Cummins MSW. And I would love to hear how these things are working for you, because it's the action that really makes the difference. I will see you in video 3, and trust me, you don't want to miss it.